and rectify that this afternoon. We have literally driven the majority, almost all of the roads we're allowed to traverse without seeing a single leopard track. So it has been a little bit frustrating, but that is the way it works out here. This is nature, and we are live, so we can't script what happens. Just to move my head there for Brian. I'm going to try watch these fork-tailed drongas that are dipping into the water, cooling off and drinking at the same time. Quite jealous. I wouldn't mind a dip in a pool at the moment. Boom, that time was more of a drink than a cool-off dip. But it's amazing if you... Oh, there you go. That's more of a cool-off dip. Boom! Wonderful. Having a good cooling session. So even though it is quite hot and a lot of animals are quite stationary, there's always quite a bit happening around these water holes. As you can see, there's the buffalo and the hippopotamus who's got the hitchhiking terrapins. And there's a blacksmith lapwing who's running up the road in front of us. Oh, he's coming to actually have a closer look at us, the lapwing. So, you can see there's a blacksmith lapwing, named a blacksmith lapwing over the noise that they do make. It sounds like a blacksmith tinking with a hammer. This one's being quiet at the moment, just skulking around looking for insects. Blacksmith lapwings of the lapwing species we get here in this part of the Sabi Sands are almost always associated with water holes and dams. So we generally only see them around bodies of water. I'm just going to move forward a little bit. Maybe we can get a bit of a closer view of those hitchhiking terrapins. It's quite difficult from here, but they look like serrated, hinged back terrapins. I will try and have a closer look now. Before we do that, while we've got this Cape Glossy starling in front of us, let's have a quick look at him. There's a wonderful iridescence that's shining off him, and iridescence is quite important in quite a few species, but in starlings in this area in particular, females use it to choose their mates. So the shiniest looking starling is generally the starling that's in the best health, and as soon as a starling starts losing its iridescence and that shyness, it means it's losing condition. So the males who are the shiniest get the most girls. So I'll have a look at these terrapin now. There we go. Nice safe place for them to bask. And they are hinged terrapins. So when I say refer to the hinge, it's actually on these terrapins, if I remember correctly, it's on the front, so they put their neck in sideways, and they've got a little hinge that closes to protect themselves from predators. And one of the buffalo bulls has just stood up. And there are two birchill starlings just to the left, another species of starling that are wandering around and quite close to the buffalo, and anything that he might disturb, they will try to feed on. Oh, Brian, if you look in the shadow of that buffalo, there we go, one just popped up. There's actually two oxpeckers. One of them looks like they were dust bathing. The others hopped up onto the buffalo to try to eat some of those pesky parasites. So guys, we're gonna cross over to Scotty so he can say good afternoon and see what he's been up to for the last few minutes. We're going to continue to work the south and western sections of the property. Fingers crossed we are able to find some leopard tracks. Even leopard tracks would get me excited at the moment, but even better, hopefully a leopard. So over to Scott, and we'll be back with you a little later.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome on board with myself, Scott Dyson, and VM on camera. We had actually stopped here to try and show you some very pretty birds called little bee eaters, but they fluttered off, and to replace them a herd of Inyala has come down to drink. The one that's leading them is a little bit nervous, rightfully so. It is a dangerous place to be, as they know predators will lie in ambush at waterholes, hoping for easy meals. The big buffalo bulls that you saw lazing about, they've got less to worry about than the Inyala. And I'm sure they'll build up courage fairly shortly and come down to drink. It's going to be an absolutely beautiful sight. There's a lot of Inyala in this herd, and amongst them there's one absolutely awesome male. He is a fine specimen, and that's probably why he's hanging around with so many ladies. As Brent, I'm sure, would have let you know, it is a hot afternoon, and this hot weather makes for great waterhole viewing, and that's why you would have noticed Brent and myself have come straight to the waterholes, and we'll probably continue to do so for the next hour or so until it cools down. Interestingly enough, it looks like one of the youngsters is about to brave the first sip. They all are very nervous, but as soon as one or two of them start, the rest will come in and follow. It's not very windy this afternoon. It's actually dead still, and that should technically make them feel more at ease. In the windy conditions, they get nervous because they know the sound of a predator approaching them would be muffled by the noise made by the leaves rustling in the grass. There we go. And now I think the rest will come in and follow. Very interesting how cautious all of them are. And I often wonder what it would be like to almost live permanently in fear of predators trying to eat you up. There's not a moment when they can be completely relaxed. Oh, the buffalo's getting a little bit feisty. That's interesting. And there's another buffalo bull that's just joined the equation. Oh. It appears like only 3 of the Inyala got to quench their thirst. The rest are obviously not quite happy with the safety here and have opted out of taking a drink. Just got a question through from Heidi in North Carolina. Good afternoon and welcome. Heidi would like to know what happens with these buffalo after sunset, because she's noticed that they spend a lot of time during the day lounging around the water holes, and what they'll be doing while they are lounging around here is chewing the cud. So they'll focus on relaxing during the day and feeding at night. So they'll acquire fresh grass that they can then ruminate the following days or during the following day. And that's exactly what they'll be doing. They'll be moving around at night looking for food. It certainly is more dangerous for them to move around at night. But that's when they decide to do most of their grazing. Hippo are no different. They also spend their days relaxing in the water, more strictly so than the buffaloes, and will only go out and feed at night or late afternoon into the late morning in winter. They have to feed for longer in the winter, and it's tougher for all the herbivores in our winter because it's dry and there's less food around for them. Well, a few of these Inyala are still trying to quench their thirst. The buffalo are kind of bullying them out of all the prime positions. Now these antelope will also be cautious of crocodiles, even though there are no crocodiles in this waterhole. They don't know that for certain, and the crocodiles do move around between the various waterholes, so they certainly would have encountered them somewhere along the way, and that's another predator that they'll be cautious of. They're not only worried about getting ambushed from the land, but also from the water that they're drinking. Surely this big old buffalo's got better things to do than disturb these poor Inyala, but they can be grumpy old men, and that's what makes them so difficult and dangerous actually when we are walking on foot out here. It's probably the last animal I would like to bump into when walking. They've got very short tempers, these old boys. The rest of the Inyala are feeding up on the banks surrounding the dam, and it's still just the same three, it appears, that started having the first few sips and are continuing to try and quench their thirst. Well, it's absolutely dead still this afternoon, and as I sat in silence there for a moment, hoping to hear an alarm call ring out, it's absolutely deadly still. And it really is phenomenal how the volume and noises that you do hear out here alter so greatly throughout the course of one day. Oh, interesting. Now, VM, if you just aim up to the Inyala there, as quick as you can, up on the bank, she's looking at something. She's seen something. It could be a snake. This is how Steph and I found a snake the other day. Or she could just be confused and think there's a predator lying in the bush, or there could be one. Now, you'll notice her body language as they all start heading off. So let's head over there and have a quick look and see if we can establish what exactly that was. I've had a quick look with my binoculars and can't seem to see anything there. It was a very similar display that we saw when we found a python that we showed you a few days ago with Stefan on the walking safari. We came around a corner and there was about 4 Inyala staring very intently into the grass. We were almost certain there was a snake, we just weren't sure which type. Well, while VM and myself reposition and go and have a look in the grass and see what we can find there, maybe we can cross over to Brent and see if he's had any luck finding anything interesting, and we'll certainly keep you updated on what happens here.
Welcome back, everyone. In that short time you've been with Scotty, we've been quite lucky, and we've bumped into a very big herd of elephants. They're very spread out. I think it might be the same herd from this morning. I'm not 100% sure, but we are keeping a close look. This female looks very familiar to me, the one who's coming close to us now. They're on a bit of a thick bush, but they're definitely going to move out into a bit more open. They're probably spread out over about 700 meters from what I can hear. And elephant herds do this quite often when they're feeding. They'll spread over a wide area and not concentrate the feeding area. And I'm hoping they might move down towards Twin Dams. But we'll see. They're still quite far, probably about 1 kilometer from the water. I'm trying to look for that very distinct female we saw this morning with the very long straight tusks, who has that wonderful little Ellie bull who's very playful, and we spent such a wonderful time with him this morning. It'd be quite nice to see him again this afternoon. So even though they're not in the best position for viewing, they definitely are going to move into a more open area just now. So we're just going to sit, relax, enjoy them. Would be really nice if they managed to find a leopard under a bush and chase it out into the open for us. Do the work for us. Have an elephant tracking team. So I'm just trying to see. Well, first, just trying to see what she's feeding on there. It looks like feeding on a small crevere or raisin bush. But there's an annoying Tumbuti in the way. Let's keep checking behind us, because this herd is spread out very far, so there might be some other animals that come out of the bush before the ones we're with at the moment. So we are constantly looking around. Amazing how dexterous that trunk is. Look how she's picking that small particular plant in the middle of a thicket and managing to pull it through. Remember, guys, you can send me questions while we're here with the elephants. We are live with the elephants, so you can send us questions in real time about what we're seeing. There we go. That's that irritating Tumbuti. So to give you an idea how close she is to us, she's probably 3 meters from us at the moment. But again, reading her body language, she's very, very relaxed. So as I was saying, you can send us questions if you are a new viewer and did not know that. You can send the questions via email to questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, you can just use the hashtag SafariLive. Oh, we're going for the buffalo thorn next. Now, buffalo thorns during the dry season take quite a hammering from elephants, and a lot of the browsers, kudu and inyala, They're one of the few very palatable evergreens that we get in the area, so they are a very important food source for elephants during the dry season. Now, the Afrikaans name for them is a blinkblaar wagge bietjie bos, which basically means, direct translation, which can be sometimes quite funny when you take languages and do direct translations, is a shining leaf, wait a bit bush, or tree. A shining leaf, wait a bit tree. And it's called that because it's got very, very sharp little hooked thorns. It's actually got one hooked thorn, one straight thorn. And if you do manage to get caught up in that, it's called a wait a bit bush because it takes you a while to unhook yourself from that. And that can give you an idea. I mean, it is incredibly painful if you get hooked in those trees. And just look at this female. She's munching through the thorns like they were nothing, and putting her head and skin right up against the tree. So that gives you an idea how tough an elephant's skin is, and also how tough the inside of their mouth is. I'm just going to try roll back a little bit so you can see a bit more. Just roll back very slowly. Whoopsie, sorry, she got a fright there. She should stop now. You might turn around and come back. Sorry, girl. Now she's just stopping and listening, making sure we're not a threat, which we're not. And she should calm down again shortly. Now she's using her trunk to smell us. I'm not going to move the vehicle at the moment. She got a little bit of a fright there. I'm going to let her relax, calm down again. There's a strong possibility when she does, she'll just start feeding. There we go. I just didn't think she saw us where we were. She knew we were here, but she didn't see us clearly because she was behind a bush. And as soon as we moved, I think the movement just might have given her a little fright. But you can see now from her body language, her ears are flapping again, her tail. She stopped very close by, and she's continued feeding again. Sorry about that, madam. So you can see there's a few more elephants around us. We are just waiting patiently for them to move out of these thickets on the edge of this drainage line, which they are doing, but they're moving very slowly because they're feeding as they're moving. So she probably just got a fright because all of a sudden there was something moving quite close to her. And you see she didn't move far, she moved about 3-4 meters further than she was. So I think just a little bit of movement caught her eye and gave her a little fright. A lot of people are under the impression that elephants' eyesight is bad, like some of the other larger animals. That's not the case. Their eyesight is actually relatively good. Their hearing and smell is absolutely fantastic though. So she's a bit further away. I'm going to start and see if we can get a better view of some of the other ellies. Oh, hang on. She might move through onto the road in front of us. So notice when I start the car, I let the engine run for a little bit before I move, just to get them used to the noise, and so they don't know it, and so they know it's not a threat. Just going to go back. I think it looks like some of the other elephants behind us are closer to the road. Up here, they're spread out over a really big area. Let's see which one's going to offer us the best view for now. around an elephant herd, it's very important to keep your vehicle movement slow and steady. You don't want to make too many revs on the engine, because it can be sometimes taken as a threat, or that loud revving engine. Having a look here, they're all quite thick bush. I think these guys are probably the best on the right, but they are slowly moving through to the more open areas. More? Yeah. There's a female and a sub-adult. Probably that sub-adult's probably around 3 years old. And she looks like a younger cow, probably in her 20s. It's quite interesting that they're feeding on quite a large variety of plants while we've been watching them. I've seen them feed on a raisin bush, buffalo thorn, a ricinaceous vine, and I'm trying to see what she's feeding on now. Oh no, she's just blowing some dust on herself. So here we go. Out into the open on the road. And across the road into the other thickets. So guys, with the elephants being in the thickets here, I'm not going to off-road after them, especially not with a big breeding herd that's spread out. It is quite thick bush, so they might get a little bit of a fright. So I think what we can do is I'm just going to shoot down towards Twin Dams quickly. Always a very good time early in the sunset safaris to check the water, because it is quite hot, and we might get lucky and find a herd of elephants that's actually drinking. And if there isn't, I'm definitely going to come back to this area, because I can see how slowly they're moving. So I think it's going to take them a good 10 or 15 minutes to get out of these thickets before they're in a more open area. So we will come back and check on them if we don't have any luck in that area around Twin Dams. We're quite lucky with our cool days. It does get quite chilly in the mornings and at night, but during the day we are blessed with lovely warm temperatures. As we can see now, the elephants have been doing some gardening for us. As you can see, it's dropped the tree across the road. So I'm just gonna, the ellies are still a little quite far away. I'm just gonna jump out of the vehicle for a second to move it. And actually, while I do that, Brian, you can get some close-ups on it, and let's see if you guys can tell me which tree this is. So I'm going to get you to ID the tree. It is a bit of an easy one, but I thought we'll start off easy today. And so you can ID which tree this is, and you can send your answers to questions at WildEarthTV, or just use the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter. I'll hold it up for you in a second. Here's the tree. Who can identify it? There we go. My road maintenance done for the day. Oh, there's another elephant in the road just ahead. So we'll go have a look what that one's up to as well. As I said, the herd's very spread out. These guys on quite a lot more open area. Isn't that wonderful? I see some youngsters around us as well. Is this the cheeky one? Is that cheeky? Oh, look at that little guy. He's got his ears out already. I'm just going to move around. I think we might be able to get a bit of view of him from the other side of this termite mound and bush. There's that female I've been looking for up ahead of us. So this is more than likely, I'm pretty confident it's the same herd. There's Cheeky Chops. You can recognize him straight away. It's the same little guy we had this morning, behaving like a little monkey. He's got a very distinct sort of pattern on in his skin. He just really seems to enjoy having a good time, this young boy. There we go. Put my foot on the tree. Haha. I win, tree. Whoa. You can just hear that. I couldn't see it, but I just saw movement in the trees. That one female's just pushed down a tree. And yeah, because it's more open in that, and I'm now more confident that it's the herd I know, and they're very, very relaxed. I'm going to go off the road a little bit so we can see a bit better. It looks like, there's an baby elephant brawl about to go on. So that one he seems to like to jump up on his hind legs was chasing the younger one. I was just trying to move to see these two little guys a bit better. Okay. Sorry, Brian, I've left Brian in the middle of a bush. I'm going to try and move a little bit further forward. How's that? Better?
Yeah.
So it is quite hot, and the elephants obviously have to feed a lot to fill that large body frame of theirs, and they are slightly more lethargic during the heat of the day. But judging from them, it looks like they have visited water sometime this afternoon. So between when we saw them this morning and now. Hello, little one. See, that one still hasn't quite mastered the use of his trunk. Oh, I don't know if you guys can hear that. That elephant just behind the little one we're looking at is pushing its head into a bunch of a very thorny acacia that's been pushed down by elephants a while ago to get to a creeper that's growing underneath. Well done, Sam and Donna, who got it correct. That tree that we moved off the road a little bit earlier was a silver cluster leaf. Oh, Bit of reprimanding going on there. Still, see how they're practicing the use of their trunk. They're mostly still on milk now. They're not really eating. But you can see that the one we're looking at now is a little bit older than the other one. It's sort of going through the motions and has quite a bit of control in its trunk, whereas the other little guy, not so much. You can see that very distinct pattern I noticed on this little guy this morning. Very, very, very unique. I haven't seen too many elephants that look like that. I'm going to try sneak forward a little bit so we can maybe get a better view. It's just very wrinkled for an elephant this young. And that's what makes it quite unique. It could be that he's going to be a very big boy and he's got a lot of loose skin to grow into. I'm going to go edge forward again a little bit. And even though I do know this herd quite well, and I've spent a lot of time with them over the last couple of months, I still maintain that very, very respectful way. I drive very slowly around them, make sure I don't drive directly at them, let them come into my space rather than me moving directly into their space. Because you never know that maybe one day something might have happened. They might have had a baby grabbed by a lion. They could be very stressed. And so you can never take things for granted and assume that animals are going to behave the same way every time. You have to have a lot of respect for them. And quite often we've been asked whether we're scared or whatnot. And I don't think I'm scared, but I have a very healthy respect for elephants. And they are definitely one of the animals that I enjoy spending time with. And big elephant bulls are probably one of my favorite things to spend time with on foot. So I have huge respect for these animals. You can see this elephant's taking advantage of some of the grass that's been left by that late rain we had. Oh, we are being surrounded. And all of a sudden we were with a couple of elephants. Now we're with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 elephants all around us. You have that nice contact call. And that's that female that I noticed when we came along these ones with that very long, straight tusks. That is, I think, possibly the matriarch of this herd. And she is very, very relaxed. And she's one of the identifying features. And she is, as far as I've noticed, the mother of that young elephant who's got that very unique sort of skin pattern. There we go, the second little baby there. Oh, look how sweet they are. And it's incredible that these impressive animals are tolerant of us in their presence and let us spend time with them like they do. What is that little one up to behind that fallen down knobthorn? So guys, if some of you have logged in a little late or possibly even a new viewer, welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve here in the Sabi Sands of South Africa. We're busy sitting with an elephant herd at the moment, and we are live, so you are seeing this at the same time we are. And quite interestingly, this is the same herd I spent the last sort of half an hour of the sunrise safari with, and We know that from these two little youngsters we had a wonderful viewing of, and this big female to the left, who's got very distinctive long straight tusks, and those are how I've identified this herd. And this herd is very, very relaxed and lets us spend amazing quality time with them. But if you are new, we are interactive, so you can ask us about what we're seeing and what we're looking at here in the African bush, and you can do that by emailing to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag #SafariLive if you're on Twitter. So for those of you watching the sunrise safari, to give you an idea, as the crow flies, how far these elephants have traveled for the day, they probably have traveled about 3 kilometers or 4 kilometers, so about 2 miles around there from where we saw them this morning. And that is one of the amazing things about being able to spend an extended period of time in an area. You do get to recognize individual animals, and it is a very special thing to be able to follow up on a herd of elephants that you see regularly, or leopard or lion, and get a sort of glimpse into the life of these animals. Hi, Elizabeth. Welcome on the Sunset Safari. Elizabeth is asking if there's any hair on an elephant apart from on the tail, on the skin. I'm going to ask Brian, on this female we're on now, to try have a look at her trunk closely, because as it catches the light, you'll see there is hair on the trunk. There is more hair on a young elephant, and it's more visible, but there are hairs on other parts of the body, but they're mostly on the trunk. Sorry, Brian, just going to... Here we go, we're just trying to get a good look. Sorry, that other female behind is just pulling on a branch quite nicely. You can see how strong they are. So, Elizabeth, if you look carefully as the sun catches on an elephant's trunk, you will see hairs. Or maybe they'll come close enough that we can zoom in on the hairs. But I've just heard Scott's nearly at Buffalo's Hook Dam. So, and there we go, under the mouth as well, there's quite a lot of hair. I'll just try to get a quick look. There we go. You can see the hair there, Elizabeth. So Scott's about to arrive at Buffalo's Hook Dam, and there's a very good chance that there might be some elephants drinking or playing there. So we're going to cross across to Scotty as he arrives at Buffalo's Hook Dam. Hopefully you guys have some really good luck while you're there, and we'll be back with you a little later.
Welcome back, everyone, and well done to Brent and Brian for finding that herd of elephants for you. Them and myself, since we left the Inyala at Vuyatela Dam or Gowrie Dam, we couldn't find anything that Inyala was looking at, and I think she may have just been looking at a dead tree stump that may have confused her. I could be wrong, but there didn't seem to be anything in that area, and just judging from her body language, I did put her into the bush once or twice. It wasn't quite intently enough for there to have definitely been something there. Since then we've seen one male impala. Other than that, it's been very quiet, but I've got a feeling there could be some action just ahead of us at Buffalo's Hook Dam. We're about to arrive there, and again on a very hot day like this, it's a good place to sit and even wait for animals to come and drink. So that's maybe what we're going to do while Brent continues searching about. I'm hoping that there could be 1 or 2 hyena nearby. There were a lot of hyena in this area this morning, finishing off the remains of a hippo kill that the Nkuhuma Pride of Lion made. And if the hyena did get full-bellied enough, they could well be lounging in the shallows, so that's a possibility. Time will tell. The dam is approaching. Just looking at tracks on the way in to see if there's anybody interesting that's come or gone from here. Looks like a few elephants have passed by quite recently. Ooh, I think I may hear impala alarm calling. It could just be a rutting noise. So I'm just gonna find a place to stop and listen. I could have been dreaming, but I'm fairly certain I heard the nasal snorts. That sounds something like is a noise that impala will ring out if they do see a predator. But if it was impala, it could also have been the end of their rutting chorus. They let off the most bizarre noise as they run around chasing one another during the mating season, which is right now. We're in the thick of it. So it could have been that, or my imagination. Wishful thinking. No different to the buffalo at Gowrie Dam. These boys are also still very relaxed, chewing the cud, waiting for things to cool down before they head off to get something to eat. There's also a heron fishing, and you'll also notice a hippo in the middle of the dam. It's just wiggled its ears and we saw a small splash, and to the right of the hippo you'll see a grey heron, and that heron looks like it could be hunting. The hippo moved ever so slightly and has gone under the water, and you can see the ripples coming towards the heron now. It's incredible how focused these birds remain for prolonged periods of time as they wait for any little fish to swim past. Oh, look at that! Awesome! What a shot! Well, I really didn't expect that to happen. Not having just watched it for about 30 seconds, they can spend hours waiting to catch a fish, and that was incredible the way it unleashed that spring-like neck into the water. Well, we'll leave it to continue hunting and go back to that hippo. We've got a question from Gail in New Hampshire. Now, Gail is interested to know how long this hippo holds its breath for. So what we're going to do is we're going to sit and watch this hippo and time exactly how long it's holding its breath for. They can, Gail, hold their breath for 3 to 5 minutes, but let's see what intervals he's taking here. So that was a short breath, I think, and I'm timing. Okay, so we'll take that as a deep breath and keep watching closely. it's probably not going to do it for too long because it's got under no pressure to do so. But like I said, 3 to 5 minutes is how long they can hold their breath for. He's coming up to 15 seconds now. And while we wait for him to take his next breath, you may notice it's got some very deep cuts and scars on its back. They do fight ferociously with one another, and they've got huge teeth. Okay, so that was about 45 seconds that he held his breath for there, Gail. So not the longest they can do it for. Something also important to understand with hippo is they're not floating. Wherever you see a hippo like that, you know it's either standing or kneeling down or lying down. They don't float, they are semi-buoyant, just like us. It looks like that heron may have caught another fish in the background there, but it appeared to be a small one that it could have swallowed up quite easily. And the fish that it's catching are in all likelihood a fish called a tilapia. Oh, another one! Did it get one there? Yes, you can see it wriggling in its beak. Or not?
Couldn't see.
Difficult to tell, but this heron's having a great afternoon hunting. It's just mind-boggling to think that this water is so murky and muddy. Oh! Well, there we go. This is incredible. Wow, I think we may have found the most successful hunter on Djuma, and it's a grey heron. Oh, awesome, I can hear elephants. And they're getting excited. They know they're getting close to the water, and they're going to come charging in at any moment. I'm just trying to establish where the noise came from. But that's some good prospects. We'll keep... Oh, and the heron got another one. This is absolutely epic hunting that we're getting spoilt with here. And you can see it's just taking a drink to try and wash down all the fish it's been catching. You'll notice that it doesn't even kill them, it just swallows them whole, head first. But it's obviously got very, very strong digestive juices in its stomach, because you wouldn't like those fish swimming around for very long in your belly. Now, where could these elephants be? What I'm thinking of doing is just driving down to the water's edge. That way we're in pole position for when they do arrive. I'm fairly certain they're going to come. The trumpet didn't sound too close. One second. Apologies folks, I'm just trying to choose the best possible spot. There's a corner of the dam up to our right here that we can't see unless we parked right over here. So basically we've got all of our angles covered here. And now we wait. Copy that, thanks. There's a gentle breeze that's picked up now, and it's a welcome relief, because earlier on it was dead still, and I'm hoping this breeze is gonna cause the animals who are hiding in the shade to come out and reveal themselves. There's a beautiful bird approaching us on the right hand bank here, Viam. And if it continues to come a little bit closer, we should be able to get some great shots. And this one I'm going to leave up to you to identify. So please send your thoughts through to questions@WildEarthTV or hashtag Safari Live on Twitter if you think you know who this beautiful iridescent bird is. And at the same time, if any of you are newcomers, a huge welcome. And it's hard to believe, but this is a live safari, so it's happening this very second, just many miles away from a lot of where you are watching from. And not only is it live, it's also interactive. So the email address and hashtag Safari Live handle on Twitter are again the same things you would use to send through questions to either Brent or myself. And please send as many questions as you can through, we really do appreciate them. Now this bird is hunting, just like the heron, but for different prey. They look mainly for small insects. Oh, that's a grey go-away bird that just upstaged the starling with a very dramatic landing, and now it's going to drink for us. And I think I just gave away the name of the bird, but there's a specific type of starling, so apologies for ruining the game for you. But it's a starling, but I'd like to know specifically which starling that blue bird was that you saw in shots earlier. This is the grey go-away bird, and it really does have his or her crest. It's very hard to distinguish between male and female, they look the same. But it's as if it's come straight out of the hairdresser. It's looking in fine form. Well, congratulations to Joan in England. You were the first person to send through Birchall starling, and well done to you, you are correct. To the rest of you who got any of the starlings, well done, or just knew that it was a starling, that's a good start. For those of you who didn't know that it was a starling, I'll give you a few pointers as to how to identify starlings. It's quite an easy bird to identify in this area because there's no other birds that have this iridescent blue sheen other than the starlings. The Birchall starling has these dark ear coverts that you'll notice, and it is the biggest starling in this area. So I think I could have been wrong about these elephants rushing on down to the dam. I haven't heard another noise, a branch breaking, another trumpet, nothing to be heard. But I still think it's worth hanging around here for a bit longer. even if some more antelope come down to drink, or a few more birds come down to drink, I really do feel that the waterholes are going to be where the action's at for the hotter parts of this day. Possibly not this waterhole. The animals do have several options on Djuma, as well as the surrounding properties. So at the moment there's no major shortage of water. But what we can maybe do while we wait for something to come here is just do a loop around the dam. And so it was an impala ratting earlier, you can hear that noise. The nasal snort at the end is similar to the alarm call, but the initial gurgling, burping that you may have heard is the initial chorus that they cry out when they're chasing one another around. So that would have been a male impala running around predominantly in circles, possibly chasing another male, possibly chasing his own tail. They really do lose their cool and lose their temperaments and can act bizarrely. They can even rut around vehicles thinking that we might be competition. We've been battling to show it to you because I guess it's just bad luck, but we are in the middle of the rutting season, and I'm sure it won't be long before either Brent or myself or Mark, who gets back tomorrow afternoon for afternoon drive, one of us will eventually be in the right spot at the right time, and you'll get to see these boys running around wildly. Like I said though, let's carry on, do a loop around the dam and see if there isn't anything lurking nearby. Stage are too concerned by these lion. What's important to understand though is these buffalo would have seen lion many times. You'll see another lioness who separated from the rest of the pride and got closer to the herd of buffalo. There's actually two there, so they have split up well into kind of a bullhorn formation, and only time will tell with what happens here. I have seen this pride attempting to hunt buffalo a handful of times. They have never been successful, not yet. That's not to say they haven't caught buffalo in their past, and I've been told by other guides who've worked in this area for longer than we have that they are a proficient buffalo hunting pride, but they're never an easy adversary to take down the buffalo. I must say a massive thank you to Deb, who was watching the waterhole camera, and she actually sent through the first message saying that she could hear impala alarm calling at the Djuma waterhole. So thanks very much for that update, Deb. I wonder where these guys are hiding today. Anyway, at least we found them this afternoon, a very pleasant surprise after having thought they had moved out of our property to the north. The lioness on the dam wall's moving, Vian, on the far left. Wow, now the buffalo is certainly going to react because she's going down for a drink. So what we're going to do is we're also going to reposition and watch her drinking. We do just have to be careful that no buffalo run into us. It is a reality, and it has happened to me before. So when buffalo are being chased by lion, they can often run into vehicles in the chaos. Incredible how they react to the lion. They back themselves, and when there's this many bulls together, they know that they can defend one another, even if one buffalo does manage to get separated from these guys and it does get caught. The other buffalo will come in and toss the lions off using their horns. And this thirsty lioness is now quenching her thirst. How beautiful is this in perfect afternoon sunlight? I'm just going to call this in on the Game Drive channel. It's important that we communicate this with all the guides. Stations in Nkuhuma Pride at Gari Dam. And how could I have forgot to mention a huge well done and thank you to the zoomies who are currently controlling the waterhole camera. It's not an easy job, and I'm sure you're having a great time with the lion here. I wonder when last lion were here that you managed to film on the cam. And here we have a drinking duet of lioness. Absolutely beautiful. Well, it's good to know that there are all 8 lions still in this pride, and thanks very much to Julie for sending that count through. I believe in previous sightings with Brent, when they've been up at Buffelshoek Dam, you were not able to count all 8 of them for sure. So there are all 8 members of the pride here. This is incredible. The buffalo standing so nearby, watching on as these lions just make themselves at home here. And it just goes to show how impressive buffalo are and how much they back themselves, and rightfully so. They are massive animals that are extremely dangerous to hunt, and what we as humans forget is that animals don't have any medical aids or health plans, and if they get an injury it could result in their death. So they will factor this into the equation when hunting. Oh, and another one joins. Perfect, and it looks like the rest of the pride may come down. Imagine all 8 of them lined up there. That would be an absolutely incredible sight. I am just going to creep a little bit closer and try and get a better angle for us to enjoy this. This is going to be good. Well, you don't get much better scenery than this, folks, and I'm just going to keep quiet for a moment or two while we watch these lions getting bathed in perfect golden afternoon sunlight, having a drink. The buffalo are beginning to build up a little bit of courage here. Sandra in Pennsylvania, good afternoon and welcome. Sandra is interested to know whether the lion would follow the buffalo into the water to try and catch them, and it's highly unlikely that they would. I have seen a lioness attempt that once, and she got flung into the sky and did about 3 somersaults before she landed with a splash in the water. The lions can't move as quickly as the buffalo can in the water, and know that it's certainly more dangerous. What the buffalo will do is they'll reverse into the water and confront the lion's head first, and that way often avoid getting attacked in the water. And again, this is specific to the lion of the Sabi Sands, who are not very used to being in the water, whereas other lions in areas like Botswana and the Okavango Delta, where they may be forced to become used to water and crossing rivers, there they may be more prone to hunting buffalo in the water and in channels that flow through the delta. This is absolutely awesome. There's some buffalo, one buffalo coming up to the vehicle. This one's passing by in the mud. The others are giving us a little bit of attitude. We're not on the lion side, we're just bystanders watching what's going on here, Mr. Buffalo. We didn't tell the lions you were here. The fact that these lions are still full-bellied, they only finished feeding on a hippo that they fed on for over 48 hours. And this will certainly make a difference in terms of their risks they're willing to take for the next meal. If they were starving, they may well have had a crack at these buffalo, but they're full-bellied. They know they're operating a bit more slowly than normal because of that full belly. And it's not necessarily worth the risk of trying to bring down one of these big boys. The lion are all making their way back into the shade, other than those two that we can see, and there are a few buffalo that appear to be following the lion actually, and that's quite interesting to see, because the buffalo would prefer to know where threats are. Or something could happen here, something is going to happen here, because the lion can come from the rear of that buffalo. There's lion both sides. This is awesome. The ones on the dam wall have flattened themselves completely, and now this buffalo is starting to chase the lion. And I'm going to actually just have a... You see, here we go. This is the action we want. Not on the vehicle, so we will let them come past. And that was exciting. Sorry about the camera angle, but Liam had to do some evasive camera work there, and we just reversed up onto this hill to get out the way. And nothing to worry about the lions. I'm just going to get back to a decent angle because VM cannot counter the camera mounting at the angle we're sitting at. But phew, that was exciting. And incredible to see how bold these buffalo are. I mean, that buffalo headed straight in there to chase the lion. It is those bold moves that gives the lion the opportunity to try and bring one down. Phew. Well, that got my heart pounding, and at one stage I thought that buffalo had locked targets with us, but thankfully not. So I'm just going to reposition the vehicle now. The majority of the lions are all behind this buffalo thorn tree and may even move off from here, so I just want to try and get a grip of what they're doing. There was only one lion left on the dam wall, so I think this is going to be our best spot, at least for the time being. The great thing is about this is that we are parked on eye level with them, so you get a much better perspective as to how large they are. Absolutely awesome. Now, I'm guessing that these lions are going to continue to spend the rest of the afternoon here lazing about in the shade. I could be wrong, and this is such an awesome shot. Just got an interesting question through from Grace in Dallas. Good afternoon, Grace. And I hope you're enjoying this lion sighting with us. Grace has noticed that they all seem to know when to take up certain positions, and how two of the lionesses had split up and splintered to one side of the dam wall, leaving the rest of the pride here. And it's all through silent communication, or telepathic communication, and you could almost related to how sportsmen become used to playing with team members, and without even making a call they'll understand what one player might do. And I think it's very similar with the lion. They spend day in and day out with one another, and therefore get to know one another's characteristics and hunting styles, and this is how they split up. They kind of each know the job and their role, and they just go about their business and do it. Sometimes the youngsters of them can learn the fine arts of hunting. They can come charging in and blunder opportunities for the rest of the part and parcel of being a lion growing up. And I know we had to race here all the way from Buffelshoek Dam, but it was worth it because we got to see that great action unfold and that beautiful sequence of the lioness drinking before this happened. And like I say, I think they're going to be stationary here until just before the sun goes down. It'll be interesting to see if they take the chances are a little bit higher at catching a buffalo after dark, and they certainly are. And won't it be nice to see a bit more interaction between these two species? Well, Paul in Minnesota, good afternoon. Paul's noticed that one of the lionesses appeared to be more full-bellied than the others, and that certainly was the case, and isn't uncommon amongst prides of lion. only the strongest and fittest will get to feed on the most, even though they have been feeding on a hippo for 48 hours. The clever lions are the ones who eat as much as possible, because there's no way of them knowing when their next meal is going to be. So it looks like some took advantage of the situation better than others. Because there was a clear difference between the lioness and how full their bellies were. I wonder where they were hiding today. And it never is an easy business tracking these animals down. But evidently the last tracks appeared to be heading north. They could have changed their direction at any given stage, and there's a lot of thick grassy blocks and bushy blocks between here and Buffelshoek Dam, and if they just crossed over patches of road network where the ground is hard, you may not know that even a pride of lion have moved over an area. Very, very surprised and grateful though when we got the report saying that there was in fact going to be, well, there was in fact a lion sighting here at the Gowrie Waterhole. We were probably here half an hour ago. We stopped, enjoyed things, but then there certainly was no danger imminent. But we were proved wrong when this beautiful pride of lion arrived onto the scene, and it's incredible how much the Djuma live waterhole cam does help us, and all the reports that you feed to us when you are watching that cam. So again, a big thank you to all of you that did send those updates. If it wasn't for those updates, we wouldn't have got here as quickly as we did, and therefore we may have missed all the action. Well, it's been a great afternoon so far. We started off with some elephants and Brent, then the heron hunting at Buffelshoek Dam, now the lion hunting buffalo. Well, kind of, you could say there was a bit of a scuffle or a skirmish between them at one stage, but we'd be giving the lions too much credit if we could say that that was an attempted hunt. They were more interested in quenching their thirst than looking after their appetites.